As Bitcoin's rise to fame continues, its numbers of critics grow alongside it. Like any new technology, there's a lot to unpack. Terms like decentralized finance, Bitcoin mining, and cryptocurrency can be a bit overwhelming when heard for the first time. This can also make it easy to misconstrue the truth about them. The media often cites the vast amount of energy Bitcoin consumes or its usage of non-renewables as a reason it shouldn't exist. However, the headlines often fail to depict the whole truth. Bitcoin does consume a lot of power. Estimates right now put Bitcoin's power usage at around 126 terawatt-hours of energy annually. That is more energy than countries like Sweden or Argentina. It is also true that many Bitcoin mining companies have some or all of their operations powered via non-renewable sources of energy. Both the amount and source of power utilized are issues that should and do receive the attention of many climate activists. That's only one half of Bitcoin's story. The other half of Bitcoin is one that is helping to shape the future into a freer and more climate-friendly world. Governments and companies are not only looking to, but relying on Bitcoin as a solution to many of our energy problems. Bitcoin is helping to increase the adoption of renewable energy. Additionally, Bitcoin is reducing the negative effects other industries are having on our climate. Those are just the environmental issues Bitcoin has resolved. We haven't even addressed the economic problems Bitcoin was originally created to fix. The amount of energy that Bitcoin uses has been growing rapidly since its inception in 2009. Increased adoption has been the main cause of this uptick in usage. With every new person that learns about Bitcoin, there's the possibility of another participant in the network. Why is it that this increased adoption has caused Bitcoin to use so much energy? What exactly is it doing with all of that power? Bitcoin is a monetary system that is meant to cut out the middleman. You don't need a bank to secure transactions or a government to print and control the currency. Many individuals from all over the world take care of this instead. Therefore, Bitcoin is considered a decentralized system. No one central institution has control over it. Due to decentralization, creativity is needed to do many of the things traditional financial institutions do. For example, banks hire people to make sure everything is secure and no one hacks into their system. Bitcoin does this through a process known as proof of work. Proof of work involves specialized machines known as ASICs, which stands for Application-Specific Integrated Circuit. These machines use electricity to solve complex equations to earn Bitcoin on the network, also known as Bitcoin mining. Many companies are formed around buying thousands of ASICs in order to earn as many Bitcoins as possible. Companies and individuals run ASIC Bitcoin miners simultaneously all over the world to keep the network honest and secure. Bitcoin not only eliminates the middleman, but it does so in a way that is nearly impossible to manipulate. Let's say that I have 1 Bitcoin and you have 2. Then I transfer my 1 Bitcoin to your wallet. Now the public record would show that you have 3 Bitcoins and I have 0. If I were a bad person and wanted to steal my Bitcoin back, I would need to control over 50% of the computing power on the network. When cryptocurrency uses as much computing power and energy as Bitcoin, it makes it practically impossible for one person to gain control over the network. The idea of Bitcoin is one rooted in democracy. Every person does their part to help the network succeed. Banks that may hold funds hostage or deny a transaction are not needed. Governments cannot devalue Bitcoin since they do not directly control it. The high amount of power Bitcoin mining utilizes is instrumental in making sure that this idea is protected. Still, concerns about its environmental impact persist. A very large concern with Bitcoin is the amount of non-renewable energy used in the process of mining, but the truth is much more convoluted. Due to the decentralized nature of Bitcoin, it's extremely hard to calculate the amount of renewable energy used. Estimates can vary from as high as 73% to as low as 25%. The real percentage probably lies somewhere in between. With that in mind, even the lower estimates show that Bitcoin uses a higher percentage of renewables than the entire United States power grid, a testament to the push towards green energy that Bitcoin mining companies are making. The largest Bitcoin mining companies are committed to using more renewable energy. For example, Hut 8 Mining Corp just joined Business Renewables Canada. Business Renewables Canada is a not-for-profit company that works to accelerate the adoption of renewable energy in Canada. The CEO of Hut 8 Mining, Jamie Leverton, was quoted saying, "We are committed to building a business focused on driving industry awareness around sustainability practices in the digital asset mining and blockchain ecosystem." Some skeptics are aware of the sizable amount of renewable energy Bitcoin mining utilizes. They believe both the renewable and non-renewable resources Bitcoin consumes are being wasted. To them, this energy should be used in more essential areas. In theory, this argument makes a lot of sense, but it misses a few important details. There are Bitcoin miners that are pairing up with natural gas and oil companies to recapture wasted energy. Oil and natural gas come from the same wells. Sometimes these companies receive very little natural gas from these wells. This makes it not economically viable for oil companies to build additional infrastructure to move the natural gas. Instead, they burn the gas off in a process known as flaring. Flaring is an extremely wasteful and harmful practice. Around $750 million of gas was wasted through flaring in 2018. Bitcoin mining has become somewhat of a solution to this problem. Now the natural gas that would have been wasted previously can be sold or given to Bitcoin mining companies. These companies are uniquely positioned to take advantage of this once wasted power. ASIC Bitcoin miners are small and can be stored in transportable structures, which allows them to move with the operations of the oil companies. This introduces a degree of flexibility that few other industries have. Bitcoin mining is also being used to help Texas stabilize its power grid. Recently, their power grid has been having a lot of widespread problems. To combat these issues, Texas has been adding renewable energy sources like wind and solar. However, there are difficulties that come with adopting renewable energy. The sun isn't always shining and the wind isn't always blowing. This creates an inconsistent amount of energy going onto the grid. Bitcoin mining is being used to fix this problem. Bitcoin mining operations are being deployed throughout the state to help stabilize these fluctuations on the power grid. When there's an excess of energy, Bitcoin miners will be turned on to soak it up. On the other hand, if there's a scarcity, the miners can be powered down to make sure it gets to homes and businesses first. This will optimize the power grid to run in a way it previously could not have. It will also help to make the adoption of renewable energy infrastructure more economically viable for these companies. Bitcoin miners consume a lot of power. This means that energy companies will have a consistent customer, giving them a way to profit off the excess power, while still allowing them the flexibility to make sure vital infrastructure doesn't lose energy when it most needs it. Many people debate the efficacy of Bitcoin regarding energy usage. However, the same scrutiny is not given to many other industries. It's important to compare and see how Bitcoin stacks up against other institutions. This helps us put into perspective how much of an impact Bitcoin is really having on climate change. Two appropriate comparisons would be with the worldwide banking system and gold. Bitcoin does compete with both of these industries after all. The worldwide banking system is estimated to use around 263 terawatt-hours of energy, while gold uses around 240 terawatt-hours of energy. Bitcoin uses significantly less energy at only 126 terawatt-hours. That means both the current financial system and gold use nearly double the energy of Bitcoin. Obviously, this alone does not justify the energy usage of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. Regardless, it shows that the impact Bitcoin is having may be much smaller than many people make it out to be. So why is it that Bitcoin receives significantly more scrutiny than many other industries? Industries like banking and gold have been around for a long time. They seem inherently valuable to our society. Whatever energy they consume is very likely to be necessary. Yes, people still want these industries to switch over to renewable energy, but they usually don't deem any energy they use as a waste. The truth is that Bitcoin should be treated in the same way, but isn't due to being an emerging industry that very few understand. Most critics of Bitcoin use its environmental impact as a way to immediately dismiss its usefulness. When you hear something uses more energy than a large country, it makes it easy to be skeptical, especially if that thing is completely located in the digital realm. However, to many, Bitcoin's existence is justified. There are definitely valid concerns about Bitcoin. We should not be reopening non-renewable power plants just for Bitcoin mining operations. There should also be a push to make sure that a majority, if not all, Bitcoins are mined on renewable energy sources. These problems aren't unique to Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, though. Our world as a whole needs to be focused on transitioning to cleaner energy in all industries, and Bitcoin mining is helping to make this happen.